talk a little bit more about sustainability, we have with us Nate Hurst, who's the Global Director of Environmental and Living Progress at HP. He, I think, is going to take us on a little bit of a different journey with respect to sustainable, why business as usual is no longer sustainable. So let's hear what Nate has to say. Welcome, Nate.
Thank you. Good afternoon. It's great to be with so many innovators here today, and I think we all play a role, an important part in making this world more sustainable. So why business as usual is no longer sustainable, and frankly, it's no longer an option. These are unprecedented times that we live in. I mean, I look around the room and I see so many people on mobile devices and technology and thirsting for more and more data and keeping up with it. There's huge changes in demographics. Our customers are demanding more and more insights using big data. You know, we work with the airline industry as an example. And now, as planes are in the air, they're talking to one another, figuring out what's the right flight pattern to conserve fuel, to save money, to become more efficient. Elections are being run differently. You know, we're here in the nation's capital. Governments are looking at ways to connect with constituents in different ways. I was just having a great lunchtime conversation with a young man who is in college right now, and he's looking ahead to 2016 and creating these new digital platforms on how the next president is probably going to be elected. And it's just amazing how this change is going at such a rapid pace. And the way that we live and work is changing. It blends together. You know, people are working from home more often. They're working, you know, in transit on the subways. It's an amazing time that we live in. And I think it's really exciting, and we should stop and think about where we're at in the history of mankind. But you should think about how more data is now created in 10 minutes than in all of human history up to 2003. More than 10 billion there's more than 10 billion internet-connected devices, and that grows by the day. And if the cloud were a country, it would be number 5 in energy use. And that continues to grow. At the same time, you're having more and more stress. You're having higher energy costs, increased risk. We're looking at, you know, as a multinational company, we look at different carbon regulations. They all say something different. They're trying to figure out this problem. We're trying to figure it out with them. And we know that we play an important role as being a technology company. And resources are becoming more and more scarce. As more and more people want the new, you know, latest, greatest technology in their hands, you know, where are those resources going to come from? We have to design for the environment and think about, on the front end, how we're going to put products and materials into these devices that on the back end can be recycled and be reused and go back into the economy. From a cloud storage perspective, we have to think about how we make more energy efficient technologies. As energy use grows, climate change is real. It's impacting communities around the world. We're seeing it every day in terms of where we live and where we work as a business. It's impacting our supply chains. You know, working from quarter to quarter, it can impact us. So we have to think and anticipate this drastic change that's happening in climate. And we have to realize it's no longer an option, you know, to just sit back and see and wait what happens as we put increased stress on the world. So what we're doing at HP is we're innovating. We're designing state-of-the-art data centers. We're creating servers that are now that use 65% less energy and are 90% smaller. So finding new innovative ways to keep up with these changing, unprecedented times. And we have a saying that you can't manage what you don't actually capture in data. And for us, one of the first things that we did, we were the first global IT company to look at capturing our carbon emissions in our supply chain, our operations, and our products. We're looking to drive energy efficiency throughout these. So we work with our suppliers on a social and environmental responsibility plan. And those suppliers that are driving innovation, setting targets, reporting out and being transparent on where they're at against their greenhouse gas reduction goals, we reward them. We reward them with more business and hold them up as a standard for other suppliers to follow. And to end on a positive note, while we continue to use data, and it's a real need to figure out a way to manage it more efficiently and drive carbon reductions across the value chain, what happens is you do find that there are amazing uses of data for good. And I want to tell you one about a partnership that we have with Conservation International. We call it HP Earth Insights. They've been doing tremendous work in countries around the world in tropical forest, collecting tons and tons of data through camera traps, through climate sensors. And they were always looking in the rear-view mirror, trying to figure out what is it that this data is telling us? How can we use this data to have better insights into what's going on the ground, the changes in climate, with deforestation, how these things are impacting these vital species. And what we did is we created a system in an index called the Wildlife Protection Index. And you can look and see in real time now, 9 times faster than we ever knew, what's happening in these sites. So you can see that our insights, our technology, can really help bring change and work with governments to reduce the effects of carbon. Thank you.